Assalamu alaikum and hello. Welcome to Urdu Lounge with Shahid Wafa. In the last video, we took a quick look at the history, evolution, and beauty of the Urdu language, and I also shared a simple plan to help you master it. But before we jump into our very first lesson, I want to share something really interesting about the connection between English and some Eastern languages. Did you know that a lot of the words that we use in English every day did not actually come from English? Yes, they were borrowed from languages like Urdu, Hindi, Sanskrit, Persian, Turkish, and even Arabic. It just shows how different cultures and languages shape the way we speak, often without us even realizing it. So, in today's video, we are going to look at some of those borrowed words and see how languages connect people in the most surprising way. Let's get started. Avatar. In English, an avatar refers to a digital image, character, or representation of a person in online spaces, such as video games, social media, or chat rooms. It comes from the Sanskrit word avatara, meaning descent. In Hinduism, this refers to the idea of a deity or god descending from heaven to earth to restore balance and address worldly issues. The word avatar entered English in the 19th century during the colonial period. It now conveys a much more modern virtual identity distinct from its ancient spiritual meaning. Coffee. In English, coffee refers to a popular beverage made from roasted and ground seeds of coffee plant, known for its stimulating effect due to caffeine. It comes from the Arabic word kahwa, which originally referred to a stimulating drink. The term passed into Turkish as kahve, then into Italian as cafe, and finally into English as coffee. The word coffee entered in English in the late 16th century as the beverage gained popularity across Europe, particularly in England. Shampoo. The word shampoo is used in English to describe a liquid or gel used for cleaning the hair and scalp. It comes from the Hindi word champu, meaning to massage or to knead. The word entered English in the 18th century, brought back by British colonists who encountered the practice in India. Typhoon. In English, typhoon word is used to describe a powerful tropical storm. The word typhoon has origins in both Chinese and Arabic. Nirvana. In English, nirvana denotes to a state of perfect peace and freedom from suffering. The word nirvana comes from the same word in Sanskrit. The word entered English in the 19th century through the Western translation of Buddhist texts. Karma. The word karma in English is often used to refer to the idea of cosmic justice or fate. It comes from the Sanskrit word karma. The term entered English in the 19th century along with other Hindu and Buddhist philosophies. Mantra. In modern English, the word mantra is often used to describe any phrase or slogan repeated for focus, motivation, or as a guiding principle like a personal affirmation. The word mantra comes from the same word in Sanskrit, mantra, meaning a sacred word or phrase. The term entered English in the 19th century primarily through translations of Hindu and Buddhist texts. Punch. In English, punch usually refers to a fruity drink often served at parties. The word comes from the Urdu and Hindi word panch, which means five. This refers to the original five ingredients in the drink. The word is also used in other contexts, like a punch, meaning a strong hit, but that comes from a different origin. Dacoit. In English, a dacoit is a member of a gang of armed robbers. It comes from the Hindi and Urdu words dakat or daku, which also means a bandit or robber. This word entered English in the early 19th century through British colonial reports and writings that describe the difficulty of controlling lawlessness in the Indian countryside. Bungalow. The word bungalow in English is used to describe a single story house, typically featuring a wide porch. It comes from the Hindi word bangla, which means in the Bengali style. The traditional Bengali style houses were simple and low to the ground, designed to suit hot climates. The term entered English in the late 19th century as British colonists adopted the style for their own vacation homes. Bangle. In English, a bangle is a rigid, circular bracelet typically made of metal, wood, or glass. It comes from the Hindi word bangla, which also means a ring or bracelet. Pandit. The word Pandit in English refers to an expert or authority on a particular subject. It comes from the Sanskrit word Pandita, meaning learned or scholar. In India, a Pandit is a respected scholar or expert, particularly in Hindu scriptures, philosophy, and other areas of knowledge. Bandana. In English, a bandana is a large, colorful piece of cloth worn around the head or neck, often as a fashion accessory or for practical use. The word comes from the Hindi word bandhna, which means to tie or to bind. These cloths were traditionally worn in India as head coverings or neck scarves. Dungaree. In English, dungarees are durable pants or overalls made from denim or heavy cotton, often worn for work. It comes from the Hindi word dangri, which refers to a type of a coarse cotton cloth. Pajamas. In English, the word pajamas is used to describe a loose fitting trousers. It comes from the Persian word pajama, which also means leg garment. British officers and colonists adopted the comfortable garment and introduced it to the Western fashion. Jungle. The English word jungle means a dense forest, especially in tropical regions. It comes directly from the Hindi word jungle, which has the same spelling, pronunciation, and meaning, and that is forest or wilderness. The Hindi word goes back to the older Sanskrit term jangala. Although the original Sanskrit meaning described dry or barren land, the British began using the word jungle to describe the thick, lush forest they encountered in India. Cheetah. The word cheetah in English refers to a large wild cat known for its incredible speed, found in Africa and parts of Asia. It comes from the Hindi word cheetah, which is derived from the Sanskrit word citra, meaning spotted. The English language took this word in the 18th century, introduced through British colonial encounters with India, where the cheetah was commonly used for hunting. Cowrie. In English, a cowrie is a small, glossy, and often brightly colored seashell, historically used as a currency or ornament. It comes from the Hindi word kauri, which also means a small shell used as money or decoration. The word cowrie came into English in the 17th century through European traders who encountered the use of cowrie shells in India and Africa. Cot. In English, a cot is a small portable bed often used for camping or for babies. It comes from the Hindi word khat, which means a light bedstead or a traditional woven bed. This word made its way into English in the late 19th century when the British encountered this practical and lightweight style of bedding in India. Guru. In English, a guru is a spiritual teacher or guide, and more generally, someone who is an expert or authority in a particular field. It comes from the Hindi or Sanskrit word guru, which means teacher or master, especially in a spiritual or philosophical context. The word guru made its way into English in the 18th and 19th centuries when British encountered Indian religious practices and philosophical teachings. Today, guru has very broad meanings in English. While it still refers to the spiritual teachers, it is also commonly used to describe experts in various fields such as yoga guru or tech guru. Chit. In English, a chit is a short official note, receipt, or letter. It comes from the Hindi word chitti, which also means a letter, note, or a written message. In both languages, the word refers to a small, often informal written document used for communication or record keeping. The word chit entered English in the 18th century during the British occupation of India when handwritten notes were a common part of local and colonial administrative systems. Kashmir. In English, Kashmir refers to a fine, soft wool derived from the undercoat of the Kashmir goat. It comes from the name Kashmir, a region in the Himalayas between India and Pakistan. The word Kashmir in these meanings made its way into English in the 19th century. The word loot in English describes goods, especially valuables taken by force or dishonesty. The word comes from the Urdu and Hindi word loot, which also means plunder or robbery. English language borrowed this word in 18th century when British soldiers and traders in India started using it. Thug. In modern English, a thug is a violent person often involved in criminal activities or cheating. The word comes from the Hindi thug, meaning swindler or cheat. Bazaar. The word bazaar is used in English to describe a market, often busy or open air space where goods are sold. It comes from the same sounding Persian word bazaar, which also means market. English adopted the word in 16th century primarily through trade and colonial interactions with India and Persia. Curry. Curry is a dish of meat, vegetables, or lentils cooked with a blend of spices, often served with rice. It comes from the Tamil word curry, which means sauce or gravy. The English language took this word in the 17th century. British traders, soldiers, and officials who tasted the dish brought both the name and the recipe back to England, where it quickly gained popularity. And that's it for today. Isn't it amazing how Urdu, Hindi, and other Eastern and South Asian languages have made their way into English and gelled in so seamlessly that most people don't even realize it? It really shows how deeply connected we all are through language, history, and the ideas we share. In the next video, we are finally starting our first Urdu lesson, learning the alphabets, which are the foundation of this beautiful language. So don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Urdu Lounge with Shahid Wafa. See you in the next one. Khuda Hafiz.